minutes.
Of course, no one heard that. Well, here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our 12th and final show of this season. And, wow, I mean, I've just got to turn this over because I'll move that over there because we've got the phone. We've got the phone here. So if anybody wants to text us or put any messages up, we can see. But fortunately, we don't get many during the actual live show. We might get a few today anyway. It depends. Today's show. What's today's show about? Well, what I want to do, we'll do the kind of the normal format we've done before. I just move on to one of the slides. Here we go. Oh, that's not good, is it? Let us try that again. So that's not. We have an interesting dilemma. So we've got our super saws up, and got there. We've got that's okay. You're gonna have to bear with me on this because this is live, isn't it? So these are things that happen. That part works, and just go back over to here just to see. That part works. So I need to go to I'm finding that. Say hello to the audience, Liz.
Hello to the audience. Hello everybody, I'm Liz Main. Some of you may know me. I am Nigel's wife and co-director of salesXchange. I'm joining today because this is the last show of this season.
Works.
Ta-da! And so for those, like I say, for those of you that don't know me, I'm one of the directors of salesXchange. I'm kind of the sleeping partner in all of this, maybe.
We're married. Obviously,
we are
look at
married,
the
yeah.
names.
Yeah, it's. I'm very pleased to be here. Our last show of this season. It's been a great journey, actually. I think all up. To be honest, I think Nigel's done extraordinarily well managing all of this on his own, with me cheering him on next door. And all of you actually joining us, all the people that have joined us as we've been going live, but also those of you that have joined us after the event. we're delighted that you have taken such an interest in what we've been doing, and a number of you have reached out, and we're grateful for your comments and your encouragement. So yeah, it's been a really great journey actually.
Yeah.
And we've gone from being like 80 degrees outside to being like -7. Not today, I hasten to add, but you know, in the 3 months that we've been here, you know.
But it is nice up here. I mean, we made a decision to move away from the smoke, move away from London, and look to just change our environment really. But that's kind of from a family, personal point of view, but also from a business perspective, being centrally located in the UK means it's easier to get everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we're only an hour or so from Manchester, and still only an hour or so from central London. So it is pretty good. So I'm quite happy with all of that. I mean, with the end of year show, I mean, really, we wouldn't have got to this point if we hadn't kept reviewing and looking at what we were doing, and that's, I suppose, for any business, you've got to have that expectation, determination, or whatever, to look back. If you don't look back, you're just forging ahead, hoping for the best all the time, and what we've seen and who we've spoken to and what we know is a lot of businesses won't or don't do it, and they keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And so what I wanted to do with today's show was to talk about what the strategy is for 2024, what I think your strategy should be for 2024, because my view, this is how my mind works anyway. My view is you'll tune into a live show. If you don't get something straight away, it's like, not interested, move on, which is exactly what I would do. And so the point of this is we are, I'll come on to the second. So the live show is about what we've done in the past, what we start again. This show is about strategy for next year, what we did in the past and what we can do in the future. It's not complicated. I put this information up every time to say, just to confirm, if you are new, who we are, what we do, why we do it, what you can do, and so on. And so it's a pretty standard explanation, and it identifies exactly who we're looking to speak to. And our target markets are technology, SaaS and services, because that's what I've sold direct in the past, and speaking to salespeople, not BDRs, not marketing, speaking to salespeople going up that chain, so to speak. So sales VPs of sales, CROs, CGOs, CEOs, and so on, and the board. And the reason we're going along that path is because, having spent a lot of years, a few decades in doing this, I know that the process for new business development is pretty poor, and a lot of people are suffering, but unnecessarily. So that's why that's our focus market. And the shows are basically look to communicate a different method and approach to generating new business that must come before anything else. You are salespeople. You can sell. That's what you're trained to do. That's what you do, given half the chance. And that's where the problem occurs. You would sell to anybody and everybody if only you could see them. And your problem is you don't see enough people. Well, that's been said of salespeople for years. But nowadays, you have to wait on marketing. The expectation is that marketing is going to give you the leads. And that's why we've created a complete, total reworking of everything to do with generating new business before you get in there. So it's not to replace you. It's to do all of that work that you actually expected to happen. Now we've done it. Now we've cracked it. We've cracked the code, sussed it all out, whatever you want to call it. But we have a strategy and a plan from start to finish, which just blows everything out of the water completely. And so, finishing with the we've done the who and the what, the when, where, why, and how is you should change your strategy if you're not getting the levels of business that you want. We've already told you where we broadcast from, and we do a live show to not. We could record this not live and say it's live and just stream it, but that wouldn't be true. That would be false. And so you probably heard me shout out, we've got a minute to go, and I forgot to put the mute on. But the point of doing this live is because there's no editing. It's a big deal. Telling someone to go and do a live show is we'll just sit there and do and talk. This is not complicated. Yeah. But to say go and shoot a video and then edit it and cut it together and then put the sound and do this and do, that's when it starts getting properly complicated and very difficult for people to be able to process having to do that in replacement of something else. So that's why we do it this way around. So we're going back to here. So that's what we are. In terms of communicating with us, you can go if you're watching us on LinkedIn. You can go to my go to this event. I think at the bottom of the stream, you can see where you can make comments and so on. But there's my number for text, and you can email as well. And one of the critical things that we put across is that we want you to remain anonymous. It's really, really key, because if you want to find out about something, well, I know that you can read and write and use your phone. So if you want to contact us, you will, which people do in your own time. I don't need to know who you are, because I know you want to remain anonymous in the same way that I want to remain anonymous if I go and look at anything which flies in the face of everything that marketing are doing. So we'll come back to that. So our strategy 2024, I'm not going to take a long time going over it, but the point is that it needs to be pretty straightforward. So, we've got. I'll just put this just so as you can see it and read it more easily. You've got the simple part of this, which is helping prospects learn. And if you don't help your prospects learn how to buy from you, why should they engage with you? And so part of this is saying, I have to read this down here. How do you go about that process of helping them learn? Well, it might seem straightforward, but actually it's not, because it involves changing the information that you have. And so step one is to review and update your content. And the reason you have to review and update your content is because most companies have very short or thin content. They produce multiple blogs throughout the month and think that information is sufficient. When you realise what Google do and how Google function and operate, you realise that that's not enough. Google recognised that educational type sticky content needs to be between 2,000 and 6,000 words long. But as a B2B, you don't need loads of it. You just need enough. And so that's why it needs to be reviewed. Once you've reviewed your content, you need to get feedback, and it needs to be improved. And it can be improved. You could look at the structure. You could look at how you're presenting it, how you're selling on paper. Salesmanship in print. And the bottom line is, and here this is the key factor: marketers don't sell. Marketers are admin. They're not salespeople. You are salespeople. You sit in front of the customer. You see the whites of their eyes. You close the deals. They don't. And that's the critical problem. They are, to us, and the way that we look at this, marketing are completely unimportant. They serve no function, unless they want to get involved with doing this. But what they've done over the past 20 years not served any company at all. And we'll come on to that a bit later. The next part is promoting your content, not your product. And the reason I say that is because if your prospects want to learn about you before they buy from you, you have to tell them that your content exists in the first place. And we have a strategy called Social 444. And we're actually, I've put here 10, 10, 10, 4. 444 is 4 adverts 4 times a day over 4 weeks and repeat. We've now got 10 adverts going out. I'll come back onto that. But it's looking at producing adverts that can be posted. And then you can say, have a look at our content.
And I also think what you need to account for here with this promoting the content is that you've got people that, you've already got followers on your LinkedIn profile on your company page. But if you post those posts on maybe on your salespeople's pages, so, your head of sales, your salespeople, and do it automatically so that you're not dependent upon them remembering to post it. Because I think that's really important. Because the thing is, if you've got to remember to post something or share something or like something, people forget. And the algorithm in LinkedIn isn't always clear. Let's put it that way. It's not a very clear algorithm to say this is exactly how it works. Well, we've certainly not figured it out anyway. So if you put it on other people, on your salespeople's individual profiles, then you'll get like an exponential growth out of that. So you can do 10 pieces of content, but those 4 pieces of content will be multiplied by however many people. So if you put it on 4 salespeople's profiles, then you'll get. I think it'll be 16.
But then there's also the thing about so we send ours out, so it goes out on mine, goes out on yours, goes out on sales on the company page. So that's 3. So we've got 3 that it goes out on. If your employees or your salespeople or whoever we're talking to right now, if you're up for it, and if your colleagues are up for it, you can use the same platform as we do, which is called Recur Post. And we create multiple graphics, just a picture with some text like a meme and some more text in the description and a link. That's it. Okay. And we post those every day and repeat. Now, they go out automatically on our 3 platforms, our 3 accounts. And you can have multiple accounts that this information will go out on, and it's automated. And you think, well, okay, so what? But the critical thing is it's advertising content to help educate. If you're saying, here's the product, buy the product, buy the product, buy the product, people get fed up of it. Buy the product or learn about how this product can make you a fortune. Learn how this product can do X, Y, and Z in your company. And that's the point. That's kind of the critical thing about all of this is that business owners, they're not stupid. They don't need someone to tell them how to run their business. But if you're communicating with them on the level and saying, look, we've got this information, really useful. We've had great feedback from this. It's helped a load of people. Have a read. It's already got your contact details on the back of it. You don't need to pester them to phone them up and say, did you like it? Can I help you? Because they're busy running a company. And this is the whole point. We'll come on to some of these points in a bit, but getting back to the information that's sent out, we've spent time working using stock images and AI and graphics and video. So all of these things feed into creating interesting graphics or attractive posts that people will understand they're actually promoting content, not a product. And it's really, really important because you as salespeople, you speak to directors, you speak to decision makers, you speak to CEOs. Just happen in passing, just ask your marketing people, when was the last external CEO they spoke to that they weren't employed by? Just asking. Yeah? Probably never. And that's why there's this critical and fundamental problem within new business development, is because marketing are constantly driving a consumer-orientated strategy that doesn't work. And that's why you've never got the levels of business and levels of leads and information that you've always wanted. Simple as that. The final part, which is really kind of key, I'll show you on this one. The final part there is step 3, is about your database. And if you understand this part about your total addressable market, your total addressable market should be of a significant size. And the figures that I've kind of used in the past is looking at size. So if you wanted to sell to companies that had, I don't know, 5 million turnover plus, there are 36,000 companies that have 50 to 250 employees, so between 5 and 25 million. Okay, there are 8,000 companies that have 250 employees or more. So assuming that within that 44,000, you could pick out 10 that would be your total addressable market that you could sell to. What everybody does is they try and phone them and find out who's in the market one by one by using BDRs. Total and utter waste of time, destined for destruction. And so the point is that if you know who your total addressable market is, then we're starting to work on a numbers game. And if you've been in selling for any length of time, you've heard the people that have been doing it for some while saying, it's a numbers game. The more people you see, the more people you're going to sell to. Well, that's never ever changed. So if you are looking at 10,000 potential businesses around the whole country, it doesn't matter where they are, you want to find the people that are actually looking at any given time, and approximately 1% are looking every week. So it's about 100 people every week out of that whole, start their journey, their buying journey. And I'm going to come on to some figures in a bit later, but it's really important to identify that if you can communicate to those 100, you can get them to come and watch a show anonymously, which is what they want. And the point of this is that reaching out to these people is the simplest thing that could ever be done. You get a 10,000 name database, you email them each week, and you say, come and watch our show, and you use the same database to put it onto LinkedIn to present banners to the same people. There is no other way, no more effective way of reaching your total addressable market than this way. Every other way is a finger in the air, hoping for the best. All the other pay-per-clicks sitting there waiting for someone to find your banner, to click on it, to go to a landing page, to fill out a form so your BDR can ring them up. Waste of time, everybody knows it. This is the most surefire way that can ever exist. And it doesn't matter what your budget could be. You could have millions of pounds, a bottomless pit of money. It would not be any more effective than doing this, because it takes time for people to understand who you are, and what you can do. They want to get to know, like, and trust you. So that's why step 3 is critical, because you need to say, we're here. Come and find out about us. We don't need to know who you are. We know that you might be in the market at some stage. Come and watch. And from the show, you can say, our details are in the description. Have a look at our website. We've got information there, and so on and so on. If you need anything, let us know. But everything we've provided for you is available, and it's open access. And that's what people want. I think it was Demand Based that said 100% of businesses hate filling out forms because they're being forced to reveal themselves. So they'd rather not fill it out, or fill it out and unsubscribe straight away. And you can never get through to them anyway, because they'll put the main published number of the business, and you'll never be able to contact them. So there's no point wasting time looking at filling out forms. So that's kind of the strategy in a nutshell. That's what the website's about. That's what these live shows have been about. It's about teaching, I suppose, and showing a different way of being able to do things when it comes to new business development. You think, okay, well, great. So during the course of this year, what have we learned during the course of this year? And this is where it kind of gets quite interesting for us. We produced 120 adverts first, and that was earlier. That was
at the beginning of the year. Well, it's kind of Yeah, about this time last year you started, and then we started putting them out. You learned about Midjourney. And,
Oh yeah, I was doing Midjourney, and we've got some interesting...
The 10-fingered orcs. And...
Yeah, I think they've perfected that now. They haven't got as many fingers. They've got less fingers. But, excuse me. So with our approach with Social 444, we started with 120, which meant 4 adverts every day, and then we increased that to 10. And there was some information that I came across that I thought, well, that makes complete sense. I'll come into that in a second. And then we've got Social 444 going out, and then we've got our emails going out. So we've got a 30% open rate, click through rate of 2%, which is typical. Nothing special about that. But then we looked at our website for stats compared to what the averages were, and the time that people spent on site was like 3.5 minutes. And HubSpot are saying, well, it's about 1:57 to 2 minutes. So
is that the average time spent on any site? Is just less than 2 minutes? Okay.
So of all the people, so we've got people that spend obviously much longer than that. So that was interesting, bearing in mind everything that we've got is open access. So there are no forms whatsoever on our website. So the next thing was LinkedIn. Of course, most people follow us on LinkedIn and watch us on LinkedIn. So we're not. I know some people have got like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or whatever of people that they look to connect to on LinkedIn. I don't kind of work that way around. I have to. We'll see what happens in the future, but the point is that we are proving something that's very, very, very important to every B2B in the world. Because nobody else is doing this. I mean, if you know of anybody else doing something like this, please let me know. But I spend an inordinate amount of time on the internet looking to seeing what is there any competition, and there isn't. And so you look at what's happened with us on LinkedIn just this year. So the figures, you can get the figures on LinkedIn. So compared this year to last year, 67,000 impressions just from those adverts going out. Yeah, they're going out now. It's automated. But all of the ads linked to content. And not just content on our website. We also have a significant amount of content that we've put on LinkedIn. And you must understand this about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a commercial organisation. It's not a social service. They're there to make money. And they make money by people staying on their platform. And it's called dwell time. So if you think, well, I'm just going to chuck a blog on there and tell them to come off LinkedIn and go onto my blog. Why would you want to do that? Why would LinkedIn want anybody to leave their website? So clever algorithms go, oh, well, we'll let a few go, but we're not going to do a lot. But the flip side is, put all your content on LinkedIn, keep people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn are happy for people to click around within their platform. You have to think about this, because you can put all your content, you can put loads of content on there, and you keep people there. They don't need to go to your website. Your website is a repository for content. That's it. Don't worry about clicks, people going through it, unless you're trading from it. That's a different matter. But if you want to educate your audience, use LinkedIn. So you can see impressions up 3,000% on 2022. Engagements up 5,750% on the previous year. That's a lot. Yeah, I've got these different mice around here. That's a lot. So in terms of these live shows, which is what we're endorsing, we're promoting everything else. So we look at the live shows, 11 live shows, nearly 1,100 views. And to put that into context, yes, we've got them on LinkedIn, we've got them on YouTube, and we convert them to podcasts. So the thing is that if you have in your company a team of BDRs trying to find people who might be interested, we both know it takes that you might get one a week from your BDRs, maybe. They'll make 60 calls a day. That's it. So 300 calls a week, 300 to one shot. Now you can see why we've got 300 different adverts going out every month. So it's really important to understand that me delivering a live show, you know, a camera, some mics, a little bit of kit that enables me to, if I find a little bit of kit that enables me to do things like this, put this information on the screen and so on. 100 people a week. How many people have looked at your company by comparison, looking at those percentages? Well, me, one person, I've reached 100 people every week. How many of your BDRs done? And this is and we've got 2,500. We've got 2,500 people connected to us on LinkedIn. The numbers are off the scale, and I've been doing this long enough. And so when you look at, you look at how many people you might have following you, you might have with your company, there might be 5,000, 10, 20, 30, 40,000. You've instantly got an audience. And then you've got the marketing on top of your own kind of biz dev stuff that we're doing, that we're talking about here, to go on top of that. So it's critical to understand the enormity of this and the tiny cost involved. And if we go back to this, which is that I'll show you this screen here. So this is what I was talking about before, with the numbers of touches, how long it takes. 25 years ago, it took 10 touches for someone to become familiar, and then for that to happen, only 1 in 3 get through because of lots of different reasons. Therefore, you'd need 30 messages. 25 years later, it's 30 touches and 1 in 10 get through, which means you need 300 messages. And all this information is online. And so you have to consider what's your company doing compared to this particular slide. Really, really, really important, because you'll say, well, clearly we're not doing this on a regular enough basis. Repetition is another part. Jeffrey Lant was the guy that came up with 10 touches, 1 in 3, and 30 messages. And in terms of repetition, a guy called Daniel Kahneman, who is here, he wrote this book, Thinking Fast and Slow, which explains how through repetition, and I'm putting this into our terms specifically for this, through repetition, business owners have been made to think that they're doing the right thing when it comes to marketing and using digital and automation through repetition from the marketing martech big tech companies. And because they think that they know what they're doing, that's called thinking fast. Thinking slow is when you are considered and you evaluate what you're going to do, and you will analyse results and so on before you make a decision. And you can see the two things. We're doing it. This is the way we're doing it. We've always done it this way. We're not going to change. We're not going to change. And so when you start thinking slow and start evaluating it, that's where these things come into their own. So kind of moving on, the big point of this is that we've, when you're looking at communicating to a broad audience, you have to accept it's going to take time. Everyone wants a deal to come in straight away, where you can, someone's in the market, they're ready, they get on with you, they like you, and they buy from you straight away. Happy days, ring the bell. How often does that happen? Very rarely. Gary Vaynerchuk thinks that it would take a year using LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn on a regular basis. And at a recent event he was at, he was a keynote speaker, less than 2% of the audience were posting every day on LinkedIn. So the opportunity is there. It will just take some time. And of course, it comes down to repetition and the information that you have and so on. So,
and we also talked about how it's like there's a, I don't know what you would call it, but it says the number of people that buy books and the number of those people that buy a book and never read it, the number of people that buy a book and read the first few pages, and the number of people that buy a book and actually read it from cover to cover. And so we had this conversation last week, and so I wonder how many of those people in that audience will actually follow through on what Gary Vaynerchuk said, and how many of those people, understanding how human nature works, how many of those people will actually follow through. So if you have 100 people in that audience, maybe 75% of them not going to do anything, and then you might get 20% of the people will make a change, and 5%, but inconsistently, and then 5% will actually do what they're supposed to do, which is posting regularly, and then look at over a period of time how successful those companies would be, because they did what Gary Vaynerchuk told them to do, because that's human nature.
Yeah.
So if you want to be in that top 5% and be the top 5% in your industry, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be doing this consistently, just doing the posting consistently, and there's no reason not to, there's no excuse not to, because we do it with Recur Post, and doing regular live streams and doing that consistently. And I think that's what people don't do. And maybe because there's such a big churn as well in a lot of marketing departments, that there lacks consistency, because somebody will come in with what they think is a better idea and drop other ideas that are actually proven to be successful or are long-term ideas.
I think that what we've seen and what we've heard and so on, that I didn't really want it to, not this show, but just generally, I didn't really expect it or think it was going to be marketing bashing. But the problem is when you start reading stats like 52% of the reasons businesses go bust are marketing related. When you realise that chief marketing officers have a tenure of between 9 and 18 months because they don't perform. And what tends to happen is that the bigger the mouth, the more brash the individuals are. I've done it, I've seen it. Managing directors, CEOs think, well, this person's going to whip everybody into shape and make it happen. And the problem is that because they don't know any other way of doing things, they've not tried any other way of doing something. It's kind of like being bigoted, isn't it? It's like I'm going to dismiss it and almost ridicule it. Excuse me. But I've never used it. I've never done it. And so I think that's what one of the problems is, that if something doesn't work, change. And it comes back to marketing people are not entrepreneurs. They're not expected to be. You as salespeople, you're expected to be entrepreneurial salespeople, to find markets, find people that are up for buying from you. But marketing isn't. Well, they've got to be entrepreneurial about. I mean, it's an admin job, for crying out loud. It always has been. And I think that, lots of people expect too much from marketing, and they don't get it, and they get all upset or despondent about it. And it's like, and the thing about it is that whilst I respect Gary Vaynerchuk, he's got a great following, and he's got these various businesses that he does X, Y, and Z. You've got to scratch the surface to realise he drives B2C. He doesn't drive tech, because the strategies that are being recommended by him for what he's good at is consumer. Sports clubs, food, all these kinds of things, they're consumer driven. They're not business driven. They're not for B2B. It talks about B2B. You could say, well, Microsoft's B2B. Yeah, how about B2B2C? Because yes, we know Microsoft products and we use them in our businesses, but look how many people use Microsoft products that are not businesses. Millions and millions and millions. The market's massive. And so when you look at the process, the mindset of a business owner, he's only going to buy something if he can derive, or she can derive, a return on investment. That's it. Not going to buy it for fun. They never do. We never do. So there's a psychological process as to what you do, and what Gary Vaynerchuk didn't say was, and this is how you have to do it. So most people walk out there going, oh, I just need to put a blog onto, chuck a blog onto LinkedIn every week or every day. Waste of time. Because they become short form blogs because you can't write 2,000 to 6,000 words every time. And it becomes, and they go, do you know, this is too much like hard work, I'll stop. So you can see that this enormous opportunity to go, well, create a few really great documents or edit or merge together some of the stuff that you got and create loads of adverts to promote it. People get to see you on a regular basis, read your content, engage with you. And all of this stuff, this whole process you're talking about is this. Everyone's seen this before. I say everyone, I'm making an assumption here, but the technology adoption curve. And so we're the innovators, yeah? We're the innovators and the early adopters. That's what this is all about. There are millions and millions of businesses out there that think they know it, that they've got it all sussed. But I've mentioned this before, 20, 30, 50. 20% go bust in the first year, 30 in the second, 50 in the third. And by the 10th year, 91% of businesses have gone bust. It's been like that 15, 20 years. If you've got investment, 40% businesses that get investment go bust. 75 don't achieve their own targets, and 95 don't achieve an ROI for the investors. And those figures are from, the first lot were from the FT and the second lot were from Harvard Business Review. So nothing's changed. But all this focus is on marketing and they're letting everybody down. So I think, when we kind of get to this point where what did we see? What did we learn? What should we do? What shouldn't we do? I mean, some of the things. So, like just today, saying, Liz, we've got a minute and a half to go, and there's some buttons on in front of us here which would mute the microphones. Oh, really? I think last week or the week before, I was talking away, and my mouth was going, but I hadn't unmuted because I coughed. So there's these kind of technical things, which it just comes with time and experience. And like right at the beginning, it wasn't working. It's like, okay, well the technology's not done something for me. You can't get upset about it. You can't get it's even worse. You imagine you go really bright red and you can visibly see someone's really, really embarrassed about it. But this is live. This is what people want to see. They don't want to see some polished act. There's plenty of time for that. It's called a video. Cut, do it again. And that's what it's for. Whereas this is supposed to be, authentic and get it right, have a drink, do whatever. And I think that, and that's why we wanted to say about, what do we learn? Titles, not feelings. You think, what on earth is that about? So the shows that we've done, you look at the thumbnail, you do the graphic that goes on, that you see on LinkedIn, that rectangular graphic. And so we've done titles that have said, make money, succeed, build up, success, all that kind of inference in the title. They get more traffic than me saying, well, this is where I've come from. This is my background. I want to tell you about my history. That's really important to me. And people are going, nah, and don't watch it. And so you get really, really fewer people watching stuff like that.
But it's all part of the mix, though, to be honest. Oh. I mean, you've got to be, this is where the rubber hits the road, I think, doing a live stream. Because I think it's about authenticity. It's about it's not just about being able to reach your audience, but it is about being able to reach them in that authentic way, which means they see who you are, and you're talking to them, and you'd like to have a conversation with them, but sometimes it doesn't quite work that way. But that's not to say that wouldn't work that way.
No.
You know, if you've got a flood of questions coming in. But the point is the authentic side of it, and doing it live. And I mean, when we first got our cameras about 5 years ago, we were trying to do videos, and we have some very hilarious moments. They weren't hilarious at the time, but when we look back, and it was like we were on a massive learning curve in terms of how to produce a video. And the thing is, it's specialists that do video, because there's so much more to it than you can even begin to imagine.
We could have a good bash. I mean, you're looking this way. You're looking this way, and that way there's a lot of kit and sliders and cameras and everything else.
We're very familiar with it now, but we weren't when we first started it. We were on a big learning curve. But I do think it's about that authenticity. And you know your customers. You know the types of people that you're selling to. You know the types of things that will appeal to them. And that's really important, because you as salespeople, you kind of get a feel for the types of, you know, the people that you like to sell to, the people that you don't like to sell to, the people that give you feedback, the people that don't, you know, and they're all part of that mix. And so, you know, the titles are important, but then you know your audience, you're going to know what appeals to them.
And one of the things that you can do, because of the nature of all of this tech, so you do a live show and you get a certain amount of people watching, you go, okay. Redo it, as in you can restream the live show and reschedule it and change the title of it. So it was recorded live, completely live, but you restream it, and that's, lots of people don't know that's a thing. You know, you watch things you watch things a second time on television. Why not watch a live show again? Change the title. The same with your content. You know, when I was saying before about reviewing your content, it's not just not talking about punctuation and grammar. I'm talking about the structure of it. What's it called? What was it called? You're not changing your URL, you're changing the title of the article. Google expects you to do that. The software's designed for you to do that. It will re-crawl you once you do something to the page. And so that's why, you know, we still have to work with certain digital parameters and understand what has gone in the past. A bit like pay-per-click. People think pay-per-clicks are pretty straightforward. I mean, there are horror stories about pay-per-click. Think about this, and this is really important for how you visualize your business development from a pay-per-click perspective. So we know companies that look at selling to larger organizations, whether it's $1 billion turnover plus or whatever. But, you know, whether it's Fortune 500, Fortune 100, it's irrelevant, but just bigger companies. I did an analysis of all of the a certain type of software company, BPM software companies, that were less than $1 billion turnover. And their average turnover per person per annum was 144 grand. And so looking at the sizes of businesses and what businesses are doing is critical. So then you look at who they want to sell to, and not just them, but any company. So it was a few weeks ago, and I came across a company that was looking to sell to Fortune 500s. Fine, nothing wrong with that. There's 500 of them. And they're spending like over 10 grand a month on pay-per-click. So pound a click. There's 10,000 people clicking on their adverts every month. Annually, yeah, 120 grand a year. So if you think, okay, your target market, there's 500 companies that you're going after, and you're getting 10,000 clicks every month, and the salespeople are saying, we've got no leads. Yeah, you have to think about what I've just said. It's critical you think about what I just said. So you've got a budget of 120 grand, 10 grand a month, 10,000 clicks per month, and your target market is 500 companies. It's impossible. absolutely impossible. Total and utter waste of money, but someone's not getting it, or no one's getting it, because there's no way 500 companies would make 10,000 clicks every month. And if you looked at the premise that 1% of your total addressable market are looking to buy every week, that means that there's 1 million companies out there, which that figure doesn't make sense either. Because if you're looking to sell to bigger companies, there's not 1 million companies out there, because you're looking to the Fortune 500. So what's happened during the course of this year is we've come across lots of these horror stories that are like, there's something really fundamentally wrong going on, and it's almost like people have got blinkers on, they can't see it. And of course, it needs you as salespeople to go, just wait a second. You've got to stop and think about this. There is something critically wrong with our infrastructure if that's what's going on. And of course, you look at if you've got a click, what are they clicking on? Are they going to a landing page? A landing page has to go to have a form to fill out. And from there, you're going to get some details. And from there, that's going to result in an appointment or a direct actual phone call. 10,000 a month? No phone calls? There's something wrong. Yeah? So, I mean, I'm not really going to make this go on too long, because it's our end of year show and we've got a bottle of sparkling there ready to crack over when we're finished. But going live versus video, I said this before, what's better? What we realise in certain instances it would work that you could record this in advance. So it's not such a, we've got 5 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes, and then you've got the countdown and so on, and that's it. That's okay for some people, not okay for others. So you can record it in advance. I mean, do you have anything to say on that? I mean, in terms of, because what we said before, what we did before was we tried different platforms, and the software we used was a bit scary, wasn't it?
It was just unreliable. It was really flaky. And the thing is, you can't, we've learned from experience that, it's really important that you use reliable software and reliable kit, because otherwise that you don't need that stress. You really don't.
And especially if you're not new, whether you're new at it or not, you should learn it beforehand. But nevertheless, when you've got software, when you even like this, because we've got different component parts with this setup, the processing is distributed, which means it's not just reliant on a Mac. Other components have their own processors, which means that there's a far less load on the machine. And so we went kind of through different iterations of what we were doing. I'm looking at this because what I don't want to do, not that I can, because I'm really shy about talking, and I talk for England. I think one of the other points in terms of the going live in video is just the consistency. You see this on television and so on. If you watch any of the like the One Show and Graham Norton, all that, the same, very very much the same format on a regular basis, and people kind of get used to that. They get used to that format. I suppose there is only one thing about looking to change it up, and we'll come on to that in a bit for what we've got planned for next year. But it's important that you do have a space. So I've got this space, and so I just turn the devices on and I'm ready to stream. Whereas before we had to reorganize a lot of things, and Liz had, we were sharing an office at the time, and it didn't really work well. But this is great because we've got not a bespoke office. What's the word? Dedicated office. So that's an important thing. Whether you have that dedicated office or space at your office or at your home, or if not, if you've got like an organisation, if you work for an organisation that has no offices, or most people do work from home, there's that potential possibility to get a rented office, rent some office space that acts as your studio, and have that in a...
Yeah, it's made such a difference. I mean, just being able to... it's made a difference to me because I don't have to decamp somewhere else for the duration of the show. But because it's more than that, because, you know, if you were to see how much kit there is, it takes up quite a bit of space. So you really need to... I mean, there are other different lights that are really quite... coveting the very flat panel softbox. That's it's a very nice looking piece of kit. But I just think from your point of view, you know, having a dedicated studio will make all the difference, because you won't have to set it up every time you want to do a live show, because there's nothing fun about it.
It's not really spontaneous either. I mean, it's... No.
So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the preparation. I mean, I'm looking for. I was kind of, when you're doing it, but I've got this thing going on in my head that wow, you know, 12 shows, 3 months, and I have Friday off and start thinking about it on Saturday and Sunday and Monday and send this out and set this up and do this and do that, and sometimes you forget to do something and so. But the point is that it gradually becomes second nature, and it takes up time, and it takes one person to do this. So that's all you have to consider. You know, you once it is all set up, and it is set up here, you're not going to just get two people to sit down and go, well, it's been an interesting week, isn't it? What should we talk about? You're not going to do that. You're going to say, right, well, we're going to talk about this. We're going to have this plan. We're going to have this scheduled, and that's helped a great deal in our kind of preparation for it and thinking about it. So you finish one show, and because we planned this in advance, we finished that show 1. We were already thinking about show 2 and 3 and 4, and what would that be relevant for show 2 or show 3 or whatever.
And I think also what has happened is you've built up a bank of slides.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have this in your own sales decks anyway, that you build up a bank of slides, and you can use those slides to talk, you know, as you know, use those slides as a prompt, like Nigel does it here. Rather than reading from the slide, he talks about the slide, which obviously is the best sales technique. We don't want death by PowerPoint. But you've built up a bank of slides that you can talk about. Because I think what you'll find is that people may tune in for a period of time, as in they might tune in for the first 2 or 3 shows, and then they will have established in their minds a relationship with you, because they will have been watching you talk, and you will have touched on some topics that are interested in them, and then they might dip in a little bit further down the line, because they're still connected with you on LinkedIn. They're still seeing your emails. So when something pops in that they think, oh, that would be really interesting, I'd really like to know how they do that, and then you can participate. So I think that's what is so good about the live streams, is because you can join, or your prospects can join when they want to, without having, without it being a webinar, which you saw that person in the top corner with the dreadful camera and the terrible audio, No, but that's not the same, is it? I mean, these look like proper. But the thing is, we've all been on those terrible webinars, and they don't look good. They're not the right. When you think of the quality of what we have here, the quality of this is nothing. Webinars are nothing in comparison to this.
The thing is, this is what they call prosumer, but this is proper broadcast quality. That it's no different whether you're, the camera's bigger. So what? Not that much bigger. The lens is probably the same. The technology and the switching is the same. So I think what you will be really surprised how much this setup costs, as in how small it is. Yeah. But it's just that your marketing people don't know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
And I think what we've also learned is, you know, about having your ducks in a row. You know, the conversations that we've had with different people since we started doing the shows, actually, like during the course of this year, and the things that have happened during this year, you know, like Google's really helpful not content update.
Yeah.
Because that's impacted so many people, so many businesses, whether they're and content creators, because now Google is saying, well, we don't like your content, so we're not going to promote your content, which means that anything that you're doing SEO wise is extraordinarily hit and miss. And if Google don't like it, they'll skip over you.
The thing is, people have to understand Google.
That's why you need to promote it yourself and not rely on SEO, because it will only, that I think will only increase, because Google will be able to recognise whether something's created by AI and may reject it or whatever. So whilst you can use these tools, you've got to be promoting your own content in your own space and have control over it. I think that's really what we've learned, because earlier on in the year we were checking how many articles were indexed on Google, and then suddenly it dropped off a cliff, and everybody was complaining about it. So, you know, to elevate your business above your competition, and not just above your competition, the people that you don't even know your competition, and I know Nigel's touched on this, you know, other B2C, other consumer brands, that you're competing with these consumer brands to get
dwell time,
to get dwell time, to get
eyeballs.
eyes on your content. You've got to make sure your content is kind of above and beyond, and the half a dozen paragraph blogs don't cut it.
It doesn't cut it, and you
doesn't cut it with Google, and it doesn't cut it with your customers either. You know, you've got to realise that they're not looking for. You know, I do a lot of research, and I get really cheesed off. I get really cheesed off when I've gone to the trouble of researching on the website, and then I might read a blog and it's like 4 paragraphs. What am I going to learn from 4 paragraphs?
Yeah.
It doesn't help me in what I do.
So you've got that part, which is they've produced 4 paragraphs and it's not helped you. They've produced 4 paragraphs and Google has said that content is not good enough for their customers, not yours, their customers.
And in that
So
scenario, I'm Google's customer, and I'm trying to access this, you know, get information.
But what I just want to be clear about this, that if a company produces content and you put it on your website and you want Google to index it before they will display it on the search engine page, search engine page results, if you want to get on page 1, 2 or 3, Google has to index it, has to crawl it and index it. So it looks at your content before it posts it, before it indexes it and presents it. If your content's not good enough and it's got other content that's as good as or better, why does it need yours? It's not bothered about your content. They're not running a social service. They're running a profit-making organisation that wants to influence people to keep using them as a search engine. And therefore they get repetition through delivering accurate content on a regular basis. If you've written a 4-paragraph blog and it's not been indexed, how on earth are you going to communicate to your audience if you're relying on SEO? Even when you've got these people coming around going, oh, we'll do SEO for you. Get out of here. Waste of time and money. In the same way that pay-per-click can be, because who's clicking on it? Who's clicking on it? How do you get 10,000 people every month? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But doing it this way says you've written your content, you've read it between you, you've given it to certain customers or people that could read it for you and tell you would they add or subtract, what do they think. Now you've put that great piece of content on your website and created 20 adverts including videos and graphics and so on, and you're promoting that to your specific identified target market. That trumps SEO and pay-per-click, and it costs pennies. You have to think about it, because everyone just kind of puts their blinkers on and goes, well, just leave everything to marketing. Their marketing will know what they're doing. No, they don't know what they're doing. That's the whole point of this. Either I'm really daft, and when's this guy telling everybody marketing don't know what they're doing? Yeah, that's right. Bring them on. Yeah, bring them on. Yeah, we'll do a complete conference, an online conference. As many marketers as you like. They are damaging your business, and if you don't say or do anything, you will fail. Because nobody's saying you can't sell, except marketers. But you just need the opportunity to go and do that. Soapbox off.
Step down, Mr. May.
So bad content is everywhere, and as I said before, the thing is that I mentioned this earlier on. Marketers don't get to meet CEOs. They don't get to meet decision makers. Everything they do is hypothetical. That's a fact. So they don't test, they don't research, they don't ask what do people think of their content. They're not analysing the content in conjunction with analytics to see how many people are reading and how far down the page they're actually reading. These are all stats that and information that you can get from Google Tag Manager. Anybody that knows about Google Tag Manager knows I'm saying the right thing. So what the content that's out there is really pretty bad. And that's why salespeople need to start looking at content. It's not for you to go and write it and become a copywriter. It's to look at the content and think, would someone buy something from us if they read that? You've got to be as critical as you like, or as you can be. I think that there is not an abundance of leads. No company has got an abundance of leads. And this is what, and I think that I said about step one about reviewing the content. It has to be, and it is the most important first stage, because once you've got that information crystallized and ready, it means you can refer people to it. It doesn't matter what you do, you can refer people to it every single time. That's the foundation of the business. Is educational content for prospects. And I think that overall, regarding the whole thing to do with live stream, what people have been told in the past, business owners want their businesses in lights. We all do. But it's time to take a different approach to this and say, well, actually, who cares? Nobody cares. The only thing that prospects want to know is, can you educate me? Can you show me why I should buy your product and the impact that's going to have? And if you go to some reasonable lengths to teach them and show them, they will buy from you, because that's how you buy. Got to think about it. Ask your CEO, if you're not a CEO, ask your CEO, what was the last thing you bought and why did you buy it and how did you buy it? And most of the things are consumer related. When was the last thing the company bought? What did it do? Why did it do it? You have to go through this process, because it's just been left to marketing to make all these assumptions. Let me just have a quick look at my notes, because we are coming into the next part, which is what we've got planned for next year. Yes, we've talked about content, we've talked about ChatGPT and so on, and we used that. I'm very interested what's happening anyway. I mean, we can say, well, let me go on to the next one here. I'll get the right one up here now. There we go. Take that off. Graphics and videos, behind the scenes, all this kind of stuff. This is what we've got. This is what we're planning next year. Social 444, we've been using graphics, as I said. But what I don't know is how effective video is doing the same. So instead of just having graphic adverts, having video adverts. I mean, I've done a few. We've got about 18 different adverts already that are lined up to go out. But I did the first one last week, which was using. There are thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of templates that are available that are for use for Instagram and Facebook. So using these templates, you can create really interesting, kind of moving, colourful, sound-based videos that are only a few up to 30 seconds long, to promote your content. Here are the pages. Here, this is what it's about. Learn this, do this, have a look at this. Free download, no dip, blah 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 blah. So you're actually creating a moving, talking, music-based advert to promote your content. Nobody's doing it. And then because you can process these in exactly the same way as your graphic ads and post them every day. I mean, you go back to that technology curve. Who's doing it? No one. So what I want to do is do it first and say, wow, we've had 12 months of doing it this way, and now look at it. Look at what we've got now. Because no, I don't come across anybody that is actually looking to do research into new business development for tech, SaaS and services. Because they're all being paid to do their jobs already. Why should they look at research? If you're paying someone 70 to 150 grand a year, why are they going to research something different if they're getting away with it? So it's quite something. It's kind of the new frontier, the last frontier, to get challenged on, because then did this work versus that work, and so on and so on. But we'll find out. We have to find out, and it takes time to get all that together. That's why we're having a break. We'll get those done, and then we'll come back early part of next year and say, here we are. Have you seen these? This is what we've done. This is what we've got. This is what people react or responded to. The other thing was creating behind the scenes stuff. I think for some people they're not interested. Some people are really interested, and there's quite a lot of technology in front here that you can't see. I'm not so sure if we would just keep doing kind of training videos, because I think there's a bit too much. You need to have the system or something set up for yourselves.
Yeah, you need a bit of hands-on, don't you?
You do, and I think that we do workshops and things like that, but I think it's probably more out of interest than anything else to say we did this, or if we go, when we're doing stuff at other people's offices, setting up a GoPro and just seeing how we go about it and so on. Yeah. I think we're going to do that. And what we're going to do between now and then is we're going to restream these series, these two main series that we did. So we pick up more prospects, people that are interested in looking at this, but of course they're going to watch it in their own time. And like I said, we might get a handful of people that watch us actually live, but we get 100 within a week or so. I mean, that's absolutely spectacular. And then our guests. I mean, we've got quite a lot of people that we want to include in our live streams, and they're all over the world. And because of that, we want to just make this whole process more interesting, but always kind of constantly saying, well, look, if when I click on this button here, that's called a lower third, that comes up, then you can see that. And we've got other things that can fly in and so on. I can take that one off, and I can put that one on there, and we've got that lower third that appears and so on. And so it's showing people all the different things that you can do in terms of delivering a live show. Because most people, like you said before about webinars, inviting someone to a webinar and saying, and I want your inside leg measurement if you're going to come and do it. And it's like, but they want to remain anonymous.
You see, I also think it's the quality, to be honest. I think the quality is, I've never seen a webinar yet that I would say that's a tip-top quality. Even, external events, there's always that death by PowerPoint.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
poor
one of the
quality cameras and so on.
One of the things we're going to be doing is connecting with other people that have got similar kit, and so in the same way that we can do this. So obviously there's Liz and I in that box, but in the other box will be someone else in another country, and they will have their own software and so on, so they can do their own thing in that box because they're streaming to us.
Yeah.
And so that's when it gets to a point where if your organisation is spread over a large geographic area, you can bring everybody together or anybody together in the same show. So, you know, these are the things that we want to show you, and we hope that you'll come and join us. You know, we've got, there is so much to do and so much to show. I did this last night. Repeat after me. You really need to talk to Nigel Main. And the thing is that there are so many elements to this. It is, unless you've worked through it and you have answers to everything, many people would get caught up as to what to do next or what to say next or how to put this together. And I'm offering this out to you to say, get in touch. We can do this exactly as we're doing now, as if it was Zoom. So if it was a Zoom call to your organisation, this is exactly what you'd see in the screen. So there's this opportunity of delivering this to anywhere in the world and helping your organisation get with the programme. And that's it, really.
Yep.
We're good to go. We've got the final one here. We go to that one there. So we've got Nigel DiCaprio or Leonardo Main. But the point is here is that, you know, we do hope that you have a great next year, a brilliant next year. You have an alternative now. You have something that you can think, well, we weren't thinking about that, but we could do this. And it literally is pennies. You will cry when you realise how little this costs compared to what you've spent this year on marketing. It's staggering. It changes everything. It changes all the ratios. And so that's it, really. And like it says there, may God bless you and keep you. And if you know the Bible, it says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not evil, to give you a future and a hope.
Amen to that.
So I hope you've enjoyed this particular live stream and the previous 11, and have a great Christmas and a wonderful New Year celebration. I'm sure you will. And we will see you early part of next year for the next live show series, and we'll notify you like we have done so far. That's it.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.